2020 has left many negative memories about it, but there's also been some positive events. For example, Rolls-Royce has built its new Ghost, and it is an amazing car. You know that some auto bloggers buy a Rolls-Royce for themselves, so we decided to find out why this car is so cool. The well-known Rolls-Royce doors now can open and close automatically, and in this episode we'll talk about the most interesting features of this car. It's a tradition that comes from who the hell knows when. Let's start with the Spirit of Ecstasy figure that can be easily hidden whenever you want to look a bit more modest or to protect it from stealing. The radiator grille has 20 LED lights. Initially they seemed to be too bright, so engineers decided to make the grille matte from inside. It's much more pleasant and subtle. Laser lights can light up the road for 600 meters ahead. It's the second day that I'm using this car, and I can say for sure that in Moscow winter conditions these lights could easily be covered with dirt, and no matter how advanced your headlights are. Now you can get the famous Rolls-Royce umbrella without opening the back door to meet the passenger well prepared. And the well-known Rolls-Royce doors now can open and close automatically. And these doors hide everything that you actually pay huge money for. By the way, this car costs $500,000. The sides of this car have a special decal that was carefully and skillfully painted by a well-trained and experienced professional. And this color is the color of overall accent of the car. Here I have the key, looks luxurious. On the back side it also has the same color as the accent. It's covered with leather, and the same leather is used in the interior. By the way, all this is made of one whole piece of leather. You know, in many premium cars you can find leather with lozenge pattern. That kind of stitching can be suitable for hiding defects of the leather that is not so luxurious. Here every panel is decorated with one big leather piece, so making the interior and hiding the tiniest defects, even insects' bites, requires huge attention. This is a totally new Ghost, and it has a brand new aluminum body. You can see a tiny gap between the roof and the chrome bezel. This is not just a gap. It's a drain that doesn't affect the aerodynamics. The engineers counted that an average drop of rain has 4 mm diameter, and they have constructed drain based on this scientific research. We can't even imagine what's going to happen if one day this drop will be 5 mm bigger, or 6 mm. The deluge. And of course in the center of the wheel disc we have the classic logo that is always upright. But that's not a surprise. What's surprising, it has an all-wheel drive, and the back wheels can steer too. Ghosts are made in two versions, a shorter and a longer one. It's almost a 6 meters long car, so shorter version sounds funny. We have a longer version, and according to the traffic laws, you need to have a number of reflective elements. Here we have additional turn signals right under the logo, but it actually has to have one more in the back. In this case the engineers found another solution. The back lights have special stripes inside that diffuse the light, and turn signals become visible from the sides. A huge number of details definitely makes you fall in love with this car. No more platforms from BMW 7 from 2008. No more 6 and 6 V12. Now, under the hood, we have a great 6.75 V12 Rolls-Royce engine. As you've probably noticed, now the Spirit of Ecstasy figure appears on the hood in an unprecedented, unbelievable and fantastic way, through a hole in the hood. Imagine a situation. You decide to repaint the hood, install it back and somehow place it in a tiny bit of skew. But let's talk a bit about this good boy. V12 6.75 that has 571 horsepower and reaches 100 kilometers per hour for 4.6 seconds. Rolls-Royce claims that this is not just a car for passengers, but also a car that is driven by the owner himself. So driving this car feels amazing. How much can this thing cost on eBay? 650. Okay, great. Hide it somewhere. This engine is placed a bit behind the forward axle, so its weight is equally balanced. That is cool. A unique feature of the new Ghost is its suspension. Double wishbone suspension, adaptive pneumo suspension, 2 stereo cameras in the windshield. This system identifies the road surface before even getting onto it and adjusts each wheel individually. What I like most, the internal side of the trunk is covered with soft material and the button has Rolls-Royce picture. We have nothing special here, medical kit, eye lug, and for those unhappy to stuck in here, a glowing handle that actually opens the trunk. Many cars have these. If you accidentally locked yourself inside, you can easily open it and get out. And now we'll have a look at the most amazing thing of this car, but first, press the like button, subscribe and turn on the notifications. We've made a huge number of videos about the most interesting cars. Subscribe? Then let's go. And the first thing we see are the specially made rugs. They're made of special wool, of special sheep, specially grown for this special purpose in Alps. And imagine this, meeting the Russian or Moscow winter in particular. For those people who don't know what Moscow winter looks like, imagine getting inside a toilet and seeing a huge ass somewhere up there and The first difficulty is how do you close the door? It's too far. No, easy. You just press and hold one button. It opens automatically too. You pull the handle and it opens. Then you hold the handle to open it as wide as you want. This function is made on purpose. It prevents this car or cars right next to yours from getting scratched. Have a look at this chrome insert. This insert shows that it's an extended version. It shows these additional 17 centimeters of the length of this car. Special attention was paid to making this car soundproof. We can't surprise you with double glass windows, but here there's not just vacuum between the glass. It has transparent polymer filler inside. It sounds like armored glass. It's unbelievably quiet inside. It's astonishing, but what astonishes more is the work done to make it soundproof. Engineers checked all details of the interior and made sure that all of them make sound of the same pitch. Then they added hundreds kilograms of isolation and did everything possible to prevent all details from making noise. Later, engineers understood that total silence is unusual for human beings, and adding at least some sound while driving is necessary, so they took a step back and brought some noise into the cabin. Of course, we have this star ceiling that is similar across the Rolls-Royce lineup. We can turn it on or off using this button, or we can make it brighter or darker. If you want to make it as bright as possible, you press here and it becomes very bright. Sometimes it even shows falling stars. It looks cool. Another interesting detail about this ceiling, it contains high-frequency speakers of media system, and low-frequency speakers are integrated right into chassis. Moreover, the 1000-watt sound system counts the number of passengers and adapts the sound for the audience. Human body absorbs sound, and this system takes even this into account. Do you begin to understand why people pay so much money for it, right? By the way, here we have the simplest modification, so it's the cheapest one, just $500,000. The Rolls-Royce showroom has an even more expensive car, and it has two separate seats. Here it has a freezer that has two options, 6 or 11 degrees Celsius. 6 for everyday champagne and 11 for antique vintage champagne. It shouldn't be too cool, bitch. What we have here, an armrest with seat control buttons. It can't expand further, or it doesn't have an additional footrest. It's not because Rolls-Royce doesn't make these. They do, but they don't do what their clients don't ask them to, and what their clients ask them not to do in particular. Their clients don't go hunting or don't sleep in their cars. Moreover, these seats have built-in position memory. Here we have a glove box, and the next button opens access to multimedia control. You may ask, and where is the system? These seats have built-in tables and monitors. I press the left button, and it opens. Here turns on the monitor that controls the multimedia system. It can be used for navigation, it sends the data to the main computer. All the functions are accessible from the central display and from the two displays in the back. I don't know what this table is placed here for. I just can't imagine its owner sitting here, unwrapping a sandwich and eating it in a traffic jam. Wow, you could do that? Of course, the materials are the most outstanding here. They are magnificent. Here we have the climate control panel for rear passengers. And to understand its function, you have to spend some years studying in the United Kingdom. I'll tell you about it from the front seat. In the UK, they very often don't have a mixing tab. They have two tabs. You have to adjust them for the perfect temperature, then the water mixes in the sink, and then you can use it. This is a tradition. This is a tradition too. You can't just understand how it works. Look, upper and lower lines of this system control the upper and lower climate control systems, head and feet. You can make it warmer or cooler, and it doesn't show the exact temperature. What's warmer and what's cooler? It's a two-zone climate control. You can't just choose the direction of the airflow, it's regulated automatically. The only thing you can choose is the strength of the flow. But it's not simple too. It's soft, medium, high and maximum. That's all. Here we have metal air circuits. To close them you have to press these special old-school buttons. We gently press the button, ensuring that RPM is stable. On the right side you have your own galaxy. And these are not just tiny LEDs. They are specially made tiny holes in a special light panel that has light of particular intensity. It looks great at night. It also has a huge display that has many BMW details inside, but it's all specially made for this car. So it's well done. Materials are great in the front row too. Just one tiny example. You see the stitch? It's all one stitch that was handmade from one side to the other. If you measure the space between the stitch and the bottom part of the panel, it'll be equal from all sides. On the left side we have a thing that reminds of old school times. That's the light control panel. It looks like a tumbler, panel lights, and the engine controls. Driver's doors also open widely. It's difficult to reach it. So this car has buttons here that close the doors. That's a Rolls-Royce. Now, let's drive. Driving a Rolls-Royce is extremely unusual. This car is very unusual for the local environment. There are many expensive cars around, but this one is special. On the left side I have a small metal rod, like a joystick. it adjusts the rear-view mirrors. In the new S-Class, you just have to glance into the mirror and it will adjust automatically. Of course, more technological cars appear in the world. They are better equipped, but this car's feature is not the equipment. It moves you to a totally new world. There, behind the glass, is the world that I want to be separated from. This Rolls-Royce is like a good whiskey. It moves you into a totally different universe. That's the condition in which you'll spend most of the time in this car, in the traffic jams. You'll need this 4.6 seconds to reach 100 only as a cool story for your friends. I pushed the accelerator pedal to the maximum only 2 times and it was very scary. Well guys, let's press the pedal. 571 horsepower, 4.6 seconds. Here we go, breaking the speed limit. British traditions are everywhere here. On the left we have a panel that shows the reserve of unused power. For example, what do I know now? I know that I don't use 98% of the car potential. Thank you very much. I couldn't move further without this information. I suggest making a gauge showing how close your speed is to the maximum speed of this car instead of regular speedometer. Imagine this. You don't use 98% of your car's potential and you have 445 km per hour left to the top speed. I don't understand a thing. You have to move carefully, slowly and elegantly in this car. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We'll move further. Thanks for watching. Press the subscribe button and notification button and stay tuned. Many new interesting videos are waiting ahead.